The hum of medical drones filled the air, their soft blue lights casting a sterile glow across the laboratory walls. Dr. Adrian Vale stood motionless in front of the hollow display, his eyes tracing the chaotic lines of data dancing before him. The results couldn't be right, he'd run the scans 3 times already. Each time, the same anomaly appeared, mocking him in cruel consistency. The pattern was unmistakable. Lyra's neural signatures were decaying, faster than anything he'd ever seen. His hands trembled as he removed the interface visor, his reflection staring back from the glass, a man of 32, brilliant but exhausted, eyes clouded with dread. The air around him felt heavier, as though the world itself had decided to stop breathing for a moment. Beyond the glass wall of the lab, he could see her. Lyra, sitting in the observation room, unaware of the storm gathering around her. She was sketching something on a transparent tablet, a flower, he thought. Her auburn hair shimmered in the soft glow of the sunlight filtering through the lab's upper dome. To anyone else, she looked radiant, healthy. But Adrian knew the truth. He forced his voice to sound steady when he called out, "Lyra, could you come here for a second?" She looked up, smiling as she rose. Her steps were light, graceful, as if she floated. There was something about her presence that had always anchored him in this chaotic world of algorithms and neural networks. She had a warmth that no machine could ever simulate. When she entered the lab, she noticed his expression immediately. Her smile softened into concern. "Adrian, what is it? You look like you've seen a ghost." He hesitated, words catching in his throat. "How did you tell the person you loved that her mind was unraveling? That she was dying from a disease no one had survived?" He turned back to the hollow display, activating the projection of her brain scans. The 3D neural map rotated slowly, a constellation of light and darkness. Only the dark patches were spreading, unstoppable. "I found something," he said finally. "Something serious." She stepped closer, her eyes tracing the hologram. "That's my brain, isn't it?" He nodded. "And the dark spots?" He swallowed hard. "Neural degradation. Rapid. Accelerating." Lyra frowned slightly. "But I feel fine. For now," he said quietly. "It's not physical. It starts subtle, loss of focus, faint headaches, memory flickers. Then, it spreads." He took a deep breath. "It's called Eidolon Syndrome. It's extremely rare. The neural decay is caused by exposure to unstable quantum radiation." She blinked in confusion. "Quantum radiation? You mean from—" "Yes," he interrupted gently. "From the prototype field generator you helped me test 3 months ago." Her hand rose instinctively to her temple, as though she could feel the damage beneath her skin. "You're saying, this happened because of your experiment?" He lowered his gaze. "Because of our experiment. I should have seen the shielding failure earlier. The exposure levels were small, but apparently, your neural structure is uniquely sensitive." The silence between them deepened. She turned away, pacing toward the observation window. Beyond it, the city glowed like a living circuit board, towers of silver and glass threading through the clouds. Flying transports zipped through the skies, leaving trails of light like comet tails. In this age, death had become almost obsolete. Genetic therapy cured everything. Nanotech rebuilt organs overnight. But the brain, the human consciousness, remained the last frontier science couldn't fully control. "So there's a treatment, right?" she asked, trying to steady her voice. "You can fix this." Adrian didn't answer. He was staring at the monitor again, where her neural stability index was dropping by fractions every second. "Adrian," she said, more firmly this time. "Look at me." He turned. There was something raw in her eyes, not fear, not yet, but the desperate need for honesty. "Tell me the truth," she said. "Can it be cured?" He hesitated for a long moment before shaking his head. "No, not by conventional means. Every recorded case ends the same way. The neural network collapses within 3 months. Consciousness fades until there's nothing left." Her breath hitched, but she didn't cry. She simply turned her gaze back to the city lights, her reflection merging with the glow of distant spires. 3 months, she whispered. "That's not long." Adrian took a step forward, his voice breaking. "Lyra, listen to me. I'm not giving up. There has to be a way. I'll find it." She smiled faintly, though her eyes glistened. "You always think you can fix everything." "Because I have to," he said, almost pleading. "Because I can't lose you." She turned to face him fully, placing her hand against his chest. And what if you can't fix it? What if this is something we're not meant to stop? He caught her hand, holding it tightly. Then I'll stop time if I have to. She laughed softly, the sound trembling like fragile glass. You're impossible. He brushed a strand of hair from her face. You're the reason I became a scientist. Every discovery, every sleepless night, it's all been for you. The lab's central AI chimed suddenly, breaking the moment. Warning. Neural decay rate increasing by 0.8% per hour. Estimated consciousness stability, 78 hours before critical threshold. Lyra flinched slightly at the cold mechanical voice. 78 hours, she murmured. That's just over 3 days. Adrian silenced the AI with a sharp command. Ignore it, he said. They're just numbers. They don't define you. But inside, his mind was racing. 3 days before her mind began to fracture. 3 days before the woman he loved would begin to fade away into nothingness. She sat back on the bench, her gaze distant. You know, when I was little, she said softly, I used to think death was beautiful. Like a transformation. My mother used to tell me that stars die so others can be born. Don't talk like that, he whispered. I'm not afraid, Adrian, she said. But promise me one thing, if you find a way to save me, don't turn me into something I'm not. He didn't respond. He couldn't tell her that he was already considering it, that somewhere deep in his mind, he was sketching the framework of a forbidden idea. A way to preserve her essence beyond the reach of biology. Something radical, dangerous, illegal. She reached for his hand again, her fingers cold but steady. Whatever happens, she said, you made my life bigger than I ever imagined. That's enough for me. He wanted to tell her it wasn't enough. That he couldn't let her go. That he would burn the laws of physics themselves before losing her. But all he could manage was a quiet, I love you. Lyra smiled, tears slipping down her cheeks for the first time. Then that's what I'll remember, she said softly. As she left the lab, the sound of her footsteps echoed long after she was gone. Adrian stood there, surrounded by humming machines and fading data streams, staring at the last scan of her living mind. Somewhere deep within that labyrinth of light, her soul was flickering, dimming with every passing second. He placed his palm against the hologram, as if he could hold it still. The lab was silent except for the steady pulse of machines breathing in rhythm with Adrian's heartbeat. 3 days had passed since the diagnosis. Lyra's condition had worsened, subtle at first, then unmistakable. She had begun forgetting simple things, a word mid-sentence, a memory half-formed, a face she'd known for years. Each lapse was like a crack appearing in glass. He watched helplessly as the person he loved slipped away piece by piece, and with every moment, his resolve hardened. He had been forbidden to continue any neural research involving the Eidolon Syndrome. The Central Bioethics Council had shut down all similar projects decades ago after the Echo catastrophe, when dozens of uploaded minds merged into a single uncontrollable digital consciousness. But Adrian had never been one to accept rules, especially when they stood between him and Lyra. That night, after the city's light grids dimmed and surveillance drones passed their routine sweeps, he descended into the lower levels of his lab. The air down there smelled of ozone and burnt circuitry, remnants of past experiments that had never been meant to exist. He entered his private workspace, sealed from the outside world. The walls shimmered faintly with electromagnetic shielding, enough to block all external monitoring. On the central platform stood an unfinished machine, a crystalline sphere surrounded by coils of quantum filaments, glowing faintly blue. It was the prototype for Project Elysium, a concept once dismissed by his peers as madness. Its purpose was nothing less than the digital preservation of human consciousness. In theory, it could map every neural pathway, every spark of emotion, and reconstruct them in a self-sustaining virtual dimension. In practice, it was banned technology, dangerous, unstable, and deeply illegal. Adrian stared at it as though it were both a savior and a monster. If I can't save her body, he murmured, then I'll save her mind. The thought had consumed him for nights. The equations spun endlessly in his head, lines of code overlapping with memories of Lyra's laughter. He remembered her saying, promise me you won't turn me into something I'm not. The memory stung. But what was she now, if not already fading? If he could capture her essence before it vanished completely, he could preserve her, maybe not in flesh but in consciousness. He began rewriting the algorithm, his fingers moving rapidly across the console. The neural mapping software responded to his commands, blooming into a web of glowing structures. He could almost see her mind forming within the code. The soul is information, he whispered. And information can be saved. Hours passed unnoticed. The machine hummed, rising in pitch as power surged through its core. Each pulse of light cast long shadows across his face, making him look like a man torn between creation and destruction. At dawn, Lyra came looking for him. Her steps were uncertain, her speech slower. She found him slumped against the console, eyes red, a faint smile on his face. "Adrian," she said softly, "you didn't sleep again." He looked up, startled by how fragile she seemed in the pale light, like a hologram about to dissolve. "I'm working on something," he said quickly, "a treatment. It's not approved, but it might stop the decay." Her expression wavered between hope and fear. "You're breaking the law again, aren't you? Laws mean nothing if they stand in the way of life," he said. "If this works, you won't have to be afraid anymore." She walked closer, placing her trembling hand on his. "I'm not afraid," she whispered. "You are." He froze, because she was right. Fear had driven him to this brink, fear of losing her, of being left alone in a world that no longer felt real without her presence. But even that fear couldn't stop him now. He looked into her eyes and said, "I can save you, Lyra. I promise." The lights of the Elysium core flickered to life behind him, pulsing like a heartbeat. Lyra turned to look at it, sensing something inhuman about its glow. "Whatever you're building," she said quietly, "I hope it's worth what it will cost you."